Hello, class 9. We will now come to the fourth chapter of your textbook, and the title is A Truly Beautiful Mind. Well, you have heard about many beautiful things in this world. You have heard maybe the mind being addressed as intelligent or a genius, but here uh, the mind has been, the adjective given to the mind is beautiful. Well, it is beautiful uh, mind that we are talking of. Is not only a genius but a truly beautiful mind that had humane qualities. Well, let us first, before you read, let us see what is written in the text here, especially what questions have been raised here. What do you think of when you hear the word genius? Who is a genius? What qualities do you think a genius has? Well, as soon as we say genius, the word genius is synonymous with with Albert Einstein, and so this chapter is about Einstein. We shall now read about a young German civil servant who took the world by storm about 100 years ago. About 100 years ago, in the summer of 1905, the 26-year-old published in quick succession 4 groundbreaking papers. So in 1905, Albert Einstein was 26 years old, and in quick succession means one after the other, he wrote 4 groundbreaking papers, 4 research papers that gave a new insight or a new idea about science. And what were those papers about? About light, the motion of particles, the electrodynamics of moving bodies, and energy. His work took up only a few pages of scientific journals, but changed forever our understanding of space, time, and the entire cosmos, and transformed the same Einstein into a synonym of genius. As I said earlier, the word genius is synonymous with Einstein. 50 years after his death, Albert Einstein's genius still reigns. He is still considered the most intelligent man in the world. Let us go about the text. Albert Einstein was born on 14th March 1879 in the German city of Ulm, without any indication that he was destined for greatness. Well, when he was born, nothing showed that he was going to be a great man one day. So he was born in Germany in the city of Ulm on 14th March. On the contrary, his mother thought Albert was a freak. To her, his head seemed much too large. When he was born, Albert's mother thought that he was a freak. What's a freak? You can see here on the right side. It's a word that is used disapprovingly to talk about a person who is unusual and doesn't behave or look or think like others. So that is what a freak is. A freak is a very strange kind of a person. That is a very derogatory term that is used for a person. So, and to her also, his head was too large. Sometimes you see babies, toddlers with their heads are too large, and they are sometimes because the upper part or the head is too large, they fall down very quickly. It is because they are growing so fast, and that's why they are maybe they are more intelligent than what their body is. So they mentally I guess Albert Einstein was very intelligent. That's why maybe he was growing very fast. At the age of 2.5, Einstein still wasn't talking. So he was now 2.5. Usually at 2.5 we send our children to play school nowadays, but at 2.5 he was not talking at all. When he finally did learn to speak, he uttered everything twice. Now finally when he learned to speak, he spoke everything twice. Einstein did not know what to do with other children. So he didn't know what to do with other children, and so he always played with himself, and his playmates called him Brother Boring. What a nickname, Brother Boring. He seemed too boring to the others. Let us read what is in this blue box. Otto Neugebauer, the historian of ancient mathematics, told a story about the boy Einstein that he characterizes as a legend. It's a legendary story, according to this historian. Um, he says, but that seems fairly authentic. It seems quite authentic. As he was a late talker, his parents were worried. Einstein was a late talker. I mean, as we just read, that he didn't talk. Only after 2.5 years only he spoke. But and his parents were very worried. At last, at the supper table one night, he broke his silence to say, "The soup is too hot." Now, finally, when he spoke, what did he speak? He said the whole sentence, "The soup is too hot." Greatly relieved, his parents asked why he had never said a word before. Now, you can understand the relief of the parents. When he finally spoke and he spoke the full sentence, "The soup is too hot." And they asked him, why didn't he speak anything before this? So what did he reply? Albert replied, "Because up to now everything was in order." It means up to now nothing was wrong, and so he didn't think that it was necessary for him to say anything. So he chose to speak when he wanted to, and he would remain quiet. He would observe, I guess. So that's how different he was from other children. So the youngster, let's go back to the text. So the youngster played by himself. So he was always playing by himself as a child, much of the time. He especially loved mechanical toys. Looking at his newborn sister Maya, he is said to have said, "Fine, but where are her wheels?" When he saw his younger sister Maya, when she was born, a newborn child, he said to his parents, "But where are her wheels?" He was so much into mechanical toys that he was looking for wheels in his sister instead of legs. Excuse me. A headmaster once told his father that what Einstein chose as a profession wouldn't matter because he'll never make a success of anything. So it seems at school his headmaster was not very pleased with him, because he said to his father, he said, no matter what he does, it doesn't matter. Whatever profession he chose, he's not going to be a success at anything. That's what his headmaster thought. Einstein began learning to play the violin at the age of 6 because his mother wanted him to. But his mother wanted him to learn to play the violin, so he had to learn it. He learned it. He later became a gifted amateur violinist, maintaining his skill throughout his life. And later on, he remained an amateur violinist. Amateur means something that you do for personal enjoyment and not for a profession. You don't earn money through it, and so you are doing it as a hobby. So he remained an amateur violinist. He was mainly a scientist, but he was a very good violinist as well. And he learned it because his mother wanted him to learn it. And very sadly, his headmaster did not recognize any talent in him, and he said that he would never be a success. Well, he proved everybody wrong, or especially he proved his headmaster wrong. I wonder what he must have been thinking later on, his headmaster. Anyway, so he remained a good violinist all his life. But Albert Einstein was not a bad pupil. He was not a bad student, actually. He went to high school in Munich, where Einstein's family had moved when he was 15 months old, and scored good marks in almost every subject. So he scored good marks in almost every subject, and when he was 15 months old, they moved from Ulm to Munich. Einstein hated the school's regimentation and often clashed with his teachers. Regimentation means that is order and discipline. When it is very extreme, means strict discipline. And he was, most of the time he was clashing with the teachers who he thought were that they were not really, it didn't make any sense in their discipline. At the age of 15, Einstein felt too stifled there and he left school for good. So he was too stifled. Stifled means when you're suffocated, when you're unable to breathe. See, in that school, maybe, in Einstein was a genius, and anyone who is creative, he was very creative. Anyone who's creative finds it very difficult to remain in, to strictly remain in boundaries. Anyone who is a genius, any person who is creative, cannot be limited. So that's why he felt very stifled. You cannot compartmentalize them, you cannot put them in a box. So here, because Einstein was a genius and very creative, he found it very difficult to follow very set rules. And so here, that's why he was too stifled. At the age of 15, he left school for good. The previous year, Albert's parents had moved to Milan and left their son with relatives. So they had moved to Milan, that is in Italy, and they had left him there in Germany with their relatives. After prolonged discussion, Einstein got his wish to continue his education in German-speaking Switzerland, in a city which was more liberal than Munich. So he decided that he will move to German-speaking Switzerland, because in Switzerland they speak German too. And so he decided, and he discussed, and then after a long discussion it was decided, yes, Einstein should be allowed to go to Switzerland. It was more liberal. Liberal means it gave him more freedom to experiment, more freedom to put forth his ideas, where people would welcome his ideas and would not put him in a box, and or rather would not hold him or constrain his ideas. And so he was very happy to move to Switzerland. Einstein was highly gifted in mathematics and interested in physics, and after finishing school he decided to study at a university in Zurich. So he decided, after school, he was very good at mathematics and physics. He was highly gifted, as it is written here, and so he decided that he would study at the University of Zurich. But science wasn't the only thing that appealed to the dashing young man with a walrus mustache. See, he had walrus mustache, like a walrus, like, so drooping mustaches. So, but science was not the only thing that appealed to him. That is Einstein in 1900 at the age of 21, and then Einstein in 1955, as we now remember him. This is how we remember him, with that shaggy hair, like a madman's hair. That is what people usually say. He also felt a special interest in a fellow student, Mileva Maric, whom he found to be a clever creature. It was a woman, a fellow student. She was Mileva Maric, and he called her a clever creature. This young Serb had come to Switzerland because the University of Zurich was the one of the few in Europe where women could get degrees. Well, that is, you can understand the plight of women, of intelligent women who wanted to study, and the universities would not allow them to study. And so the University of Zurich was, in Europe, was one of the few that allowed women to get degrees. Einstein saw in her an ally against the Philistines. Ally means a friend or an associate, and Philistine, that is a very derogatory or a disapprovingly, you talk of people who don't like art, literature or music. You call them Philistines. They called them Philistines. So they were the people who were like low grade people, who there were people who did not like art or literature or music, and so they called them Philistines. So Mileva Maric was a friend who understood him, and he understood her. Those people in his family and at the university with whom he was constantly at odds. So there was, who were the Philistines? They were those people in his family and even at the university who were always on the other side, always at odds with him. The couple fell in love. So they fell in love. Letters survive in which they put their affection into words, mixing science with tenderness. So all their love letters had scientific terms, and that is how they wrote to each other. You can still find the letters. Wrote Einstein, "How happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion." So he said, "I'm going to be very, very happy and proud when we bring our work on relativity and bring it to a victorious conclusion. When we finally put forth this theory, I'm going to be so happy." You must know that although only Einstein is recognized for the theory of relativity, it was Mileva Maric who encouraged him, and Mileva who helped him and gave him ideas about this theory. And sadly, being a woman, she was never recognized, and only Einstein was recognized for that. In 1900, at the age of 21, Albert Einstein was a university graduate and unemployed. So he had no employment, and he was at the age of 21, he graduated from his university. He worked as a teaching assistant, gave private lessons, and finally secured a job in 1902 as a technical expert in the patent office in Bern. Bern is in Switzerland. So he got in a patent office. You know, when there are people who bring forth scientific ideas or new inventions, they want to patent their work, and so this was a patent office where he worked, and they would maybe find out whether the work was authentic or not, and so he worked there as a technical expert. While he was supposed to be assessing other people's inventions, Einstein was actually developing his own ideas in secret. So very secretly, Einstein was developing his own ideas while working in that office and while in assessing other people's inventions. He is said to have jokingly called his desk drawer at the work the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. So the desk drawer where he put all his work on the theory of relativity, he would call that a Bureau of Theoretical Physics. That was a joke that he had. One of the famous papers of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. So this theory, time and distance are not absolute, he found it is one of the famous papers that he published in 1905. Indeed, two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time if they come together again after a journey if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. So you must have studied all this. From this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy, that is E is equal to mc squared. That's a very famous formula that everyone remembers. In this mathematical equation, E stands for energy, m for mass, and c for the speed of light in a vacuum about 300,000 kilometers. See, so this is what Einstein is really famous for. When you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That's relativity. That's how Einstein explained relativity. Isn't it funny? That was very so interesting. So I guess we must stop our class here, so that we may we will continue in the next class. I hope that you have understood till now and enjoyed reading about Einstein. You can go to the net and find out much more about Einstein, much more that is written here. Thank you, students.